Red Corner Boxing. We're in the game.
Yes, guys, and welcome to the weekend review. You're with Mr. Neutral, Jams, Blunston Boxing, and soon to be Home of Boxing, who's just joining us now. Welcome, Home of Boxing. We are live, brother. Thank you for coming through. Really
Welcome,
appreciate
guys.
it.
Welcome.
Yeah, we're just going to
I'm
chop
glad
it
to be
up.
here.
Yeah, man, appreciate it, brother. We really appreciate it. We're just going to chop it up about the first part of the night. Owen Cooper versus Constantine Ursu, vacant British and Commonwealth title. It was a great fight for the Valiant Live in Derby. What's your original thoughts on this one, Mr. Neutral?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this card for the Queensberry. Leighton done a good job with all the matchups, but a vacant title nonetheless. But two guys who really wanted to go for it, and certainly they did. Very impressed with us early rounds. First 5 rounds, I thought he had it tied up, and I thought it could be an early night, such as the power that he was unleashing on Cooper. But that Cooper, boy, that cheese on toast with the Worcester sauce on top, mate. Mate,
yeah, that Worcestershire.
Mate, I've never seen
let's see
a
if our
guy.
Americans can say that. Say Worcestershire sauce, lads.
Yeah, no, I can't say that.
No American. I've never met an American who can. Honestly, I've never met an American who can say Worcestershire sauce. They always say Worcestershire.
It was a game of two halves. Owen Cooper came back the second half of the fight. I was saying it on the watch along that I felt that Cooper was taking the punch out of Ursu by sort of rope-a-doping him in the middle of the ring, just letting him wail on him until he was running out of power and energy. And it almost paid off because if he'd started that assault really from round 4 instead of round 6, he might have had a chance. Or sorry, round 7, I think it was. He might have had a chance to make that as close as possible, if not nick it. But resolve I give to Cooper. I mean, the style of Ursu in the early rounds reminded me of a young Bevel. He was really good, Kazakh style, in and out with that southpaw style.
Johnny Top Tier said the same thing, mate. The guy who promotes Ursu, he said the same thing. Did that remind you of a Bivol performance?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this was after you said it. You said it last night. He said this today. He
must
have been watching the watch along, bro.
I'll copyright that then. And he showed that he had to, when he has to be taken to the trenches, also, he could compete at world level. I was very impressed. And these are the things you look for in a sign of a good boxer. He's 25 years of age. He's got a great future in front of him. So I'm very excited for Constantine Ursu. Great performance.
Didn't I tell you about him, though, Neutral? Didn't I tell you how good he was?
All right.
I did, man. He's one of them fighters that just doesn't get the recognition because he's not with a big promoter. He's not pushed massively, but he is so skillful. The Moldovan, he came over here as a young man, put his hands to boxing, put his everything to boxing, and absolutely he wins every fight, makes it look easy. It makes it look so easy. He's so slick. He really is. Owen Cooper was tough, like you said, durable. I didn't give him a round till the 8th. I gave him the 8th, 9th, and 10th, but then Ursu took the 11th and 12th to absolutely take this away on a wide UD. I had it 117, 111, I believe, in the end. It was a masterclass by Ursu to keep his Commonwealth and to claim the vacant British. Congratulations, Constantine. Home of Boxing, what did you think to the fight, Mater?
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. Ursu really showed heart. I was surprised as well. I thought he was on the B side, or when it comes to the main event, he was second. And I feel like that really he had to prove that he's not really gonna stay. He's not gonna stay that way. So it was good. He was going against the Queensberry fighter in Owen Cooper, and he showed him that he is levels above him, and he was able to get the UD. I felt like he showed from the beginning he was outclassing him. But Cooper he's a strong man. He wasn't letting himself go easily, so the respect to him. But yeah, Ursu showed out that night.
Absolutely, matey, absolutely. Blunston Boxing, what did you think, my man?
My biggest takeaway is what's next. I want to know what's next for Ursu because, as you had stated, he wasn't signed by any major promotion. But after such a performance, I expect him to be picked up now by a major promotion and start pushing him because he is a very talented fighter. He is an individual that I think that obviously for some reason he wasn't picked up, and that is what it is. But now through this last fight, I think we are going to start seeing him much more frequently and on bigger cards.
I
Yeah,
agree.
absolutely, mate. But the thing is, he's signed with Johnny Clark's top tier promotions. They're not going to let him go for cheap. They're going to want a payday to let him go because they
Aye.
know what they've got on their hands. They've been saying it since 2019 when he first signed for them that he is a talent and that he's going to be a star. And Johnny Clark was not lying.
I think
That's good for
Queensbury
them.
will pick him up.
It sounds like Queensberry may just need to throw out a bag at him.
Yeah, it sounds like he might be a Queensberry fighter soon.
If they don't, that may signal problems within Queensbury. You know what I mean? You know, on an external scenario, investment wise. So let's keep an eye on that.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. He's only going to keep growing his hair. So he's only 25. He's got the Moldovans behind him. He's got the Romanians behind him. They've got a big following over there on the eastern bloc of Europe.
And here, you know,
But yeah, he's building a base here now. Yeah, he's building a big fan base here now. I
Yep, his
remember
stock
young
is
Sammy,
just
you
gonna
know,
keep on
Sammy
going up.
SWS Boxing. Check him out if you don't know him. He does interviews with fighters every week. Young Sammy was the one who put me onto Constantine so about 4 years ago. You know what I mean? He told me about him, how good he was. And that's when I
yeah,
started really checking him out and I realised just how good he actually was. No one had believed me, as usual, but you've now seen how good he actually is.
yeah. And his name access there, Queensbury are scared at the minute. You know, these are the signs you got to watch for. But normally they would snap up boxes like us within 24 hours of putting on a masterclass like that to one of their top men. You know, when I say top men in that top category of earners, you know, he's got a massive following, Owen Cooper. So that was that. You know, these are the signs for me when they don't snap up boxes like that on contracts. And hitherto, the fact that top tier have him already, you know, when you look at the pay gap between these small promoters to Queensbury, you know, it's a
Night and
golf.
day, bro.
It's a golf, isn't it? So they'd swallow up any contract that top tier had with them. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely, absolutely. I tell you what, though, where does he go now, though? Owen Cooper after that loss, he got absolutely dominated, in my opinion. Like I say, I had it 117, 111 at the end of the fight. I was being generous, giving Cooper one of the rounds. It could have been 118, 110, which two of the judges did score it. Would you like to see him back in with Echo Esserman, try and get lick back on that? You know, Esserman knocked him out in the 10th round when Owen Cooper was dominating the fight. Would you like to see that rerun as maybe a comeback to get Owen Cooper back in a winning trajectory?
It sounds like he's got a bit of, he's got a default reset sort of thing. He's not what you consider European level. There is a ceiling with him. However, he's entertaining. So you know, that was an entertaining fight in itself. The fact that after taking punishment for 6 rounds, he was coming back the second 6 rounds and, you know, pressurizing a top quality boxer. So for entertainment value, yeah, he's worth watching. But however, when you say where does he go? I wouldn't expect too much from him. I wouldn't expect too much at all. But it's British level at best. Yeah, there you go. Lee Mack
Yeah,
says that.
completely agree. Completely agree with Lee
Yeah,
Mack and Mr. Neutral. Absolutely. British at best. Maybe even English level, you know what I mean? He's
yeah,
got heart, he's got grit, but look how many men we've got over here that got heart and grit.
too many.
That's it, mate. That's it. Well, let's move on from that fight then to the co-main event, which was Ben Fale against Mason Cartwright. This was for the vacant Commonwealth Super Welterweight title. Ben Fale pulled off in style, mate. He got the 7th round KO. He looks good, man. He's part of the boxing twins, the Fale brothers. Of course, we've got Carl and Ben. They're at middleweight, but he fought at super welterweight last night, which surprised me. Actually threw me off my game a little bit. What did you think to Ben Fale's performance? Do you think he's got what it takes to get to world level, Mr. Neutral?
Ben Fale, big tall southpaw. Let's look at what he did last night. You know, He had a very smaller opponent in Mason Cartwright, but Mason Cartwright, he very much in the same vein as Owen Cooper. So much grit, too much heart for his own good, because that was a beatdown. And I was hoping that was going to be stopped earlier, but it wasn't. It went to the 7th. And yeah, it was a total beatdown. I wouldn't say a mismatch, but it's bordering on.
Yeah, it was close to being a mismatch.
It wasn't for the fact that Mason was so entertaining in taking that beating. He was still throwing punches. But, common sense prevailed in the end and they pulled him out.
To answer Lee Mack's question, they're with Queensbury, mate. They're with Queensbury, the Fail twins. Homer Boxing, did you watch the Ben Fail fight against Mason Cartwright, and what did you make to it, if so, brother?
Yeah, no, for sure. How Mr. Neutral was saying, I think he might be also in British level. It'll be hard for him once he moves up and starts fighting tougher opposition. But that was a good performance that he had against Cartwright. It really showed he's out. He's above, like his levels above him. So he did good. But I feel like he might need a bit more work before he finally gets bigger opportunities.
Yeah, he was taking a lot of punches, in the exchanges.
He got caught too. He was sloppy at times. He was.
He was. Mason Cartwright, as we can identify, he's another one that could be British level at best.
He's been in there with Troy Williamson, who's the European was the European champion.
Yeah, but Troy's moved up since them days. But Ben Field coming down from middleweight to 154 pound was telling. I was wondering about,
Sorry to interrupt you, Neutral. We've got Miss Yogi in the house. I'm not seeing you for a minute, Miss Yogi. I hope you're well, sweetheart. Bless you.
Hi, Miss Yogi. I'm not. I was wondering about Ben Field's gas tank. Whether he'd be weight drained coming down to 154 pound. But I see it as a title grab. It was, it was a good grab. But whether he stays there or not, I don't know, because he looked too tall, too broad-shouldered for 154 pound. But if he feels it's comfortable there, then he can make a push for a European title next. But he has to improve his defence because he was getting tagged by Cartwright too many times, and more quality boxers will exploit that.
Yeah, absolutely, matey, absolutely. But he does look a talent, though, doesn't he, Ben Fail? He does look a talent. And of course, being a twin, I know it's, there's lots of twins out there. You got the Charlie brothers and whatnot. Right. But it's a unique spectacle, isn't it? When you see two guys who look the same, both can box. It's a nice little side addition to the boxing action, isn't it?
I feel that his southpaw stance, is his best weapon, yet his biggest sort of caveat. Yeah, his biggest hindrance at the same time. He leaves him open to the left hand so many times, as Cartwright enjoyed. However, he's got residual power himself, and he's got great execution of his punches, and that alone can win you some good fights. So, yeah, I'm quite excited for Ben Field and Konstantinos so far. As I said, it was bordering on a mismatch. It wasn't, but it's just testament to the performance of Ben Field. He reduced Cartwright of that performance.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Blunts, what did you think of this one, mate? If you caught it,
I thought it was a fun, exciting little fight, but then it's just kind of what you guys keep reiterating is what's the extent that Fail can actually get at the domestic level. How far can he get on the world level? Can he even get to the world level? I think that's a big question. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a good fight.
And if so, what weight would he do it at? Super welter or middle? Because it's a natural middleweight, but he moved down to super welter.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like with the thing in like boxing right now, I feel like middleweight is an open playing field for everybody. So, I mean, you have a better chance at middleweight than super middleweight, because super middleweight is so stacked right now. All of the heavy hitters are all waiting in line for a title shot. So to get that position is going to be extremely difficult.
Yeah, speaking of that, Edgar Berlanga, Chris Eubank Jr. is happening apparently later this year at super middleweight. What's your thoughts on that, real quick?
I feel like I might get sick.
Yeah, I'm thinking I might give that one a swerve, bro. I might give that one a swerve.
To what end? People
I
have
would
been
love to.
asking the question. To what end is that fight going to? Is what's on the table for both of them other than just money?
Pimping the
I
papacy,
feel like
mate.
for Eubank, it's a knockout win and at least end your career on a high note. Because I feel
Yeah.
like with Eubank, he needs to call it a career.
But you know what he
Berlanga,
wants after, though, don't you? If he beats Bumlanger, he wants to then fight Canelo, of course. You know that. That's been his goal for years. Chris Eubank
No,
Jr. said for years he wants to fight
I
Canelo at
Both
168.
want the Canelo fight.
don't
Even
see.
Berlanga.
I think Balanga will end him after taking more or less a beating off a welterweight, coming up to
Yeah, but an
160 pounds.
eggs-fueled welterweight, let's be truthful.
What?
An eggs-fueled welterweight. Conor Benn, egg boy.
Oh,
A cheat. He took it off a cheat. A bit like Haney against Garcia.
but
It
that's
doesn't
right.
derail his career when you lose to a cheat. It only makes you stronger. Cheats never prosper, brother.
Well, certainly, Conor Benn and Ryan Garcia are a testament that that's not true. The cheap do prosper, however. He hasn't.
They shouldn't.
But he's been passing VADA tests and all kinds of tests for a long time now. So I can
Yeah,
only go
still
on
a cheat.
the
Once a cheat, always a cheat.
that's the label, of course, but I can only go on what's presented to facts today. And the fact, that Chris Eubank suffered a eye-catching defeat to a guy that's a lot smaller. I think sorry, not Eubank. I think Berlanga, bigger, stronger, 168 pound. He's used to the weight. He's got plenty of knockouts at that weight. I think he's too much for
Yeah, but we've
Eubank.
seen Shiraz who's a 154 on knock him spark out.
Yeah, Shiraz, he's has no right to be fighting 154 pound. But prove that 160 pound. He's suffered against the Dames. He comes up with 168 pound, and that's one fight and knocks out Berlanga. Can we take much stock from that home of boxing?
Hello. Yeah. I was
Yes.
thinking it's gonna be. I think it would be a tough fight for Chris Eubank. I don't know if he has the power to take Edgar Berlanga off him. So I do think it's gonna be a closer fight. I'm surprised the fight's even being made, but that I guess it is. It seems like a pretty even fight. Will Eubank be able to box away the whole fight, or is he gonna really inflict damage to Berlanga? I'm not sure if he'll be able to.
That's a good point, man. That's a good point. Eubank does lack that concussive power to keep someone like Belanga off, but Belanga also is chinny and he can get took. So it's basically who lands the cleanest shot first could win that fight.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I wonder where they'll do, if they'll do it in the UK or it has to be in the UK, right?
Oh,
No
yeah,
way.
it'll 100% be in the UK, mate. It'll be in
Yeah.
London. It'll be Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
If they make
Ring
that
Magazine
PPV,
personified. They'll make a special belt for it and all sorts. It'll be like the IBO dump belt.
that's
Yeah,
not PPV worthy, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but Eubank's name is pay-per-view. That's the point.
No,
You know what I mean? It was
not
Ryan Garcia against Rowley pay-per-view. It's just what happens, mate. It's what happens. We get this garbage fed to us and then make it pay-per-view.
Ryan Yogi's got a question. Do you think the discrepancy in walk-around weight and ring weight is hurting boxing in general? Yes.
Of course, yeah. Absolutely.
Because
You
it's
see guys who are
discipline.
190 pounds walking around and they go down to 160 and fight, and you can see the difference. But it can also hinder them as well. Because when they're drained, you see the difference. Look at Haney against Garcia. Haney was drained at 135. He was absolutely slaughtered at the weight. If he was at 147, he'd have knocked Garcia out, man. Or at least dominated the fight.
Here's a question for the Americans. Do you feel that there's too many boxers fighting at the wrong weight these days?
No. I feel like if you can cut the weight and do so successfully, I don't got a problem with it.
That's the key word, Blunt, successfully, But a lot of these boxers are doing it to their own detriment, and they're literally cutting down so much that they are so drained and so damaged
that,
that
in my
couldn't fight
opinion,
night. Look at Tamir Smalls last night. Tamir Smalls last night, he should have took Ramos out, but he was so drained, he looked so dry and so bone riddled that he got absolutely schooled by an old man. You know,
Yeah, no,
it
that's
I
happens.
think I think it's the detriment of the team to inform a fighter what's best for them in their career. Um,
Absolutely.
in reality, this has been going on forever. I mean, imagine back when we had fewer weight classes, you had individuals who were actually cutting probably more weight and in an even more unhealthy way. It's probably likely why we saw so many deaths back when boxing was so few weight classes.
When it nearly
Um,
got banned.
exactly. I mean, how many times
Yeah,
has boxing almost been banned in the history of the sport?
yeah.
Like several
Multiple
times.
times, yeah.
Well, let's look at the flip side of the coin on that, because when I asked that question initially, it wasn't for the reasons that we were alluding to. It's the fact that there's so many boxers, for me, are fighting at the wrong weight because they can't make weight, and especially championship level, and they ruin the bout where they're overweight. They've been having a hard strip 48 hours before weigh-in and end up the fight, the strip to the belt can't be won, all that rest of it. How many, that pattern is repeating itself so many times. We had Keyshawn Davis, we had Ryan Garcia.
Floyd Mayweather was key for it, for stripping down the weight. You know, Mayweather was a
Aye,
massive lad compared to fight when he was fighting at 135,
there's too,
140. He was
there's
huge.
too
He was a
many.
middleweight, easy.
Exactly. If you when Blunt said successfully, there's what's the percentage of that at championship level lately?
I mean, that's the thing is what percentage of fights do we see get canceled because of bad weight cuts? And that's what's
Yeah.
so ironic about it. We see it a little bit, but in all reality, it's not that frequently, considering how many championship fights we have in a single calendar year. So I think the biggest thing is and again, it's these fighters' teams. If they recognize that they have a fighter that has trouble cutting weight, the best thing they can do is inform them to move up in weight
There you go.
to further along their career. I think
Yeah.
it's not uncommon that we see fighters cut weight in order to be in the golden divisions, the divisions that are
Ah,
getting the most
there you have
publicity.
it.
It's always been that way. I feel like
There you have it. No, it's not
it,
always been. I'll tell you why it's not always been that way, Bruns, because the boxers were more dedicated to the divisions because they often fought that many times in one calendar year that they had no option but to stay in camp or near their about weight. As Right and Yogi says then, back then they fought more often,
so
so the walk around weight stayed close
so
to the
that's
ring
not
weight.
necessarily true though. That's what's so ironic about it. Look at Duran. Roberto famously used to balloon up to
Yeah,
160
he was
pounds when he was
huge.
at
So was Ricky Hatton.
135.
Ricky Hatton as well, Bloods.
Sugar Ray
Ricky Hatton as
Leonard,
well.
same thing. He would balloon up above 160. And the rumor is the reason why Duran and Leonard 2 happened was because of the known factor that Duran would balloon up so much. So what was Leonard's idea and his team?
Never
We're
wasn't
going to
that
make
for a
this fight
title.
happen as quick as possible. And if I remember correctly, the rematch happened in less than 3-4 months. So that
Oh,
was their own
Six
plan.
months it was. 6 months, and the fact that Leonard seen uh, Duran on television celebrating a month after winning the fight, and he'd already seen the weight and enacted his rematch clause. He
That's it,
said,
yeah,
"Right,
because he
I'll
thought
fight
he was
him
going to
now."
be ballooned up.
But doesn't that come down to ill discipline? Because on a singular basis, because the likes of Duran, God bless his soul, Ricky Hatton, they had outside distractions where other boxers, especially I can go back to the 60s and 70s, who had a far more stricter regime because they fought more times during the year than boxers today who've got so much downtime between fights that this, weight problem becomes more of an issue,
It's
especially when
also,
it comes
bro,
to.
It,
social media. You wouldn't have
it,
seen it before. You wouldn't have seen it like you do now. Because everyone's got a camera now, everyone's got a phone, everyone's clicking. They see a boxer out and about, they're
Yeah,
filming him.
yeah,
You wouldn't have had that back in the
so
70s, 80s.
you brought up like discipline. I think when that's the thing is I don't think fighters have as much discipline as we like
Yeah,
to presume. I think like when we look at it, like Bernard Hopkins, famously, I mean, probably arguably maybe the most disciplined fighter we have ever seen. And what ironic about it, he's less skilled than what we saw from like James Toney, who again, there's another figure who was notoriously bad at being disciplined outside of the ring.
yeah,
Would balloon up at 5'10" and get up 5'10", and during his supposedly run at 168 was ballooning up to over 200 pounds. So it's just
Yeah.
like, it's one of those things where I feel like while we have fighters cut weight and Jurassic weight sometimes, it's really, I think it's not a bad thing, because in my opinion, what it does sometimes is it creates great divisions in boxing. And I don't want to devalue that, because you know what? A lot of other sports where you have to cut weight, that is just part of the game. Wrestling and mixed martial arts, kickboxing, that's all a part of the game. You cut weight to be in the best weight classes to get the most publicity and the most shine off of what you're doing.
yeah.
Very true.
Just to close off this conversation, Ryan.
I was just going to say, what about the Regis Prograde being moved up to 150 to fight Conor Benn? You know,
Well,
he's a
that
natural 135 and moved up to 140, had
Well,
one fight
look,
versus Jojo Diaz, and now he's being dragged up to 150 for a big payday against Conor Benn.
and George and Regis Prograde had no problem with that, as he told us. Remember when he said, "Would you come to England? Would you fight Conor Benn? Would you take fights?"
He told
Would
you
you
in no
move
uncertain
up?
terms, he said, I would love that fight. I would fucking love that fight, he says.
Exactly. So and that's for nothing. That's actually better for Conor Benn as a come down weight from 160 to 150, rather than go all the way down to 147. I know it's only £3, but every pound matters at those middle, near enough middleweights. Back to the point I was making. Do you feel that fighters are torn between entertainment and legacy?
Absolutely. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. You look at the people that are like willing to fight Ryan Garcia. You know, we all know he's not that guy. He's not that guy. He's a drugs cheat. He's a known drugs cheat. He fails weight. He's racist. He does everything to be an absolute see you next Tuesday. Yet people will fight him because of his media stock. So they're choosing legacy, money, clout over actual boxing. And that's what makes me sick.
Good point. Home of boxing. Any opinion on this, sir?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. What Jams was saying, that's all the fighters are looking for now. And for Conor Benn, that's I'm surprised he got it. He got a fight at 150. That's I guess that just shows he would have struggled. He would have struggled to make 147. So
Yeah.
that surprised me. And Regis, good shot, good on his team. His team got him a good fight. They got him
A
paid.
good matchup.
I hope Regis knocks him out. I so hope Regis knocks him out.
Yeah, I'm hoping Regis pulls out something that we've just he just surprises all of us, and that would be crazy. That would blow up the whole media.
If it does, mate, if it does, we'll get Regis back on the channel neutral, and we'll have him have a celebration parade on Red Corner Boxing.
He might start
He'll be a
charging if he
hero
wins
over
that
here.
fight.
He'll be a hero.
Who knows if he'll come on for free?
Yeah, man. He will literally. He'll be a hero, mate. He'll be a hero.
Before we move on to the next fight,
Luke McCormack against Kane Gardner. Sugar King.
If you're new to Red Corner Boxing, you listen to us for the first time, please give us a like and subscribe, but don't take my word for it.
BoxingFightZone.com for all your boxing apparel.
That's our official apparel supplier, Boxing Fight Zone. Check them out at BoxingFightZone.com. And also, while we've got a few seconds in between, check out Ray Trilogy's new single with his daughter, Ray G.
Yeah, this feels good. Yeah. Beaver, it's the commissioner. Big Smoke. Big Move TA. This some classic shit right here. Benjamins, you got another one with this one.
We all the way up, we in the clouds now. We up here living good, we ain't coming down. Niggas was talking, they still standing stuff. We got on our grind, made our own luck.
There you go. That's Ray Trilogy's new single, Regime, with his daughter Beta. Make sure you check that out on YouTube, raytrilogy.com.
The
He's got
man
some big
himself,
tunes on there.
all available on all your music apps. Now, let's move to the final fight on the British Card Jams before we move
Yes,
to
mate.
America.
Yeah, it's Luke McCormack versus Sugarcane Gardner. This was an eliminator for the Commonwealth welterweight title. It's a silly one, this, because it's not actually an eliminator. It's for some form of title that you can't defend. I don't understand how to explain it even. It's a title that you can't defend. It's basically given to you so you're in line for a Commonwealth shot. It's not a real title. You don't get a
It's a
belt.
ceremonial belt.
There you go. That's the best way to explain it. A ceremonial belt. Yeah, there's no real belt attachment to it. You can't
Yeah,
defend it. You can't fight for it. But you get given it. It's an accolade. It's an accolade.
but
But yeah,
it's
Luke
fast.
Luke
It's,
McCormack got it in his fifth fight. He's now 5-0-0, and he's done a great job. He won by
yeah.
UD against Sugarcane Gardner, who's never been stopped, and I told you he wouldn't get stopped. And this is what we got, mate. It was a good fight. Kane Gardner showed grit and heart throughout. He was in there punching, but just levels, man, levels. Luke McCormack showed that he's a level above.
Yeah, I was a bit skeptical about McCormack's chances after only 4 fights. Uh, although, he got a couple of them by knockout. Kane Gardner had been in there with some real top quality guys, especially on the domestic level. And it was for me, it was a massive step up for McCormack, in just his
Well,
fifth
when
fight.
you look at Kane Gardner's opponent's neutral, he's been in there with Yuken Bayev, who
Yeah,
literally is a banger. He's a banger, mate. He's been there with
yeah,
Reese McMillan, Tom Farrell, Ben Fields,
yeah,
Pierce O'Leary. He's been in there with some good guys, and none of
yeah.
them managed to stop him.
Look at the guys he lost to.
Yeah,
And,
that's it, man. That's it.
you
McCormack,
know,
4-0, now 5-0. He looks the real deal.
I was thinking this is going to be a real good test, but from round one, it was never a contest. Never a contest. Kane Gardner put his guard up. It was tight. It was solid. He was looking solid, but he didn't throw a punch hardly for 4 or 5 rounds. McCormack had built up a lead. Then I was thinking, well, I'm not seeing evidence of punching power that's going to knock out Gardner. Let's question the gas tank, because obviously McCormack is fighting a 10-rounder here, and this is unknown territory. But as the fight went on, again, this was another masterclass. Kane Gardner was reduced to bleeding eyes, bleeding mouth, nose bust open, and he wasn't justifying his position in that fight. And I know I've seen him fight better. Was that down to McCormack reducing him to a miserable wreck in that ring? I don't know, but there was only a couple of instances in maybe rounds 9 and 11, 8 and 10, when Gardner, made a fight of it, but far too little. Such a slow start. He can't afford to. I thought that was a good chance for King Gardner to reinvent himself, but wasn't to be.
No, he was dominated, bro. He was dominated. What did you think, Homer Boxing?
Yeah, for that fight, I didn't really tune in. I tuned in a bit after, so I didn't really see it too much. But he did show. But what I did see, he showed a lot of heart and he showed out.
Yeah, that's true. Bronx?
McCormack, I was impressed with composure to try to knock it, to show composure when an individual you're trying to knock out doesn't fold. Takes a lot.
Yeah.
So I was actually impressed a little bit with McCormack. Like to see what's next for him. This is what's unique about the more domestic level, no matter where you're fighting, the UK or even the United States or Japan, so on and so forth. When you have these type of performances, it makes people wonder what's next, what's your ceiling. And with McCormack, I think it's he might have actually a little bit of a ceiling.
Good point. Right.
Very good point.
That's the British card out the way. Let's move on to the card last night. Where was it held?
Well, let's move on to the main event from last night, mate, from Glendale, Arizona. Let's move
Ah,
on to
Glendale.
Manuel Navarrete
That's
versus
the one.
Eduardo Sugar Nunes. Obviously, this was
Yes.
the IBF WBO Super Featherweight title unification fight. It was exactly how I said it would go. Emmanuel Navarrete had too much. He was too strong, too long in the tooth, man. He'd been there, done that. Sugar Nunes has been looking weaker and weaker in his last two fights against Rashiki and the guy before. I won't even mention his name because it was barely a noticeable win. I knew the way this fight would go, and he even got the exact round. I said TK round 11. Did I not, Mr. Neutral?
You certainly did, because I freaked out after the co-main event. I said to James, listen, buddy, you're going to have to do this one. You know, my bed's just like too much calling me. So I didn't catch up with the fight until this morning. And James is absolutely correct in what he said. Round 11 knockout, Phil Cabuto, 18 points. Congratulations to you on that one, buddy. Another great week on Prediction League. And I've got, just while I'm here talking about Prediction League, just got big up Blunts. Great, another great week. You're running away with League 2, mate.
He's killing it, mate. He's killing it. We're going to be having him in League 1 soon.
You have to give some. You got to start making some crazy picks, Blunts. You got to make. I got to take that lead from you.
That's
I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
He likes that lead, home of boxing. He likes being top of the table. He's getting shout outs from Rick on the Prediction League now. He's going to get used to them. But, you know, going back to the thing, I didn't watch the fight, however, I did this morning. But I want to hear from home of boxing about this fight. Navarrete, after that Charlie Suarez fight, you know, a lot of people were tipping Sugar Nunes. I believe when I was watching the thing, I managed to catch the polls. 61% pre-fight had Sugar Nunes to win. What was going through your mind, you know, early rounds?
Yeah, no, for sure. I was confused. I was wondering how many people had Navarrete. Navarrete was the underdog. I was confused because I had Navarrete winning. So when I saw he was an underdog, I was really surprised. I was like, do I not know like boxing, or we're about to find out, you know? And I was surprised it was a one-side beatdown. Navarrete really made it one side. I thought it would be pretty even, but after the first 3 rounds, we just clearly saw Navarrete just kept on upping and Sugar Nunes had no response. I kind of had a feeling, since he's a come forward fighter, and that's a bad style matchup against Navarrete. He doesn't just stay still. So I knew them uppercuts would have done damage, and that's what it did. I assumed Nunes would have made it out, because like it's hard to knock out another Mexican. I knew he would have not quit. He was going to be there all night. But once I saw the eye close on the right eye, no, that was fully shut. And I just knew it was a matter of time until the doctor get the stoppage. But no, that was a good performance by Navarrete. The sky's the limit now for him. He just opened many doors for himself.
Yeah, thanks, man. Blunts, were you equally surprised by the pre-fight odds that had Nunes a fight favourite? Were they basing that on the Charlie Suarez fight? I having witnessed what you witnessed, what is the impact now on Nunes' career?
All right, y'all. I'm going to get a little long-winded here. Based off of what we saw, I want to say with Navarrete, we just saw a pound-for-pound performance by Nav. His accolades have now positioned himself into the pound-for-pound rankings. And not just that, based off of it is what was just stated earlier. After a very questionable performance last time out, I would make the argument that this is the best we have ever seen Emmanuel Navarrete. And he is, in my opinion, should now be positioned without a doubt at maybe number 1, number 2 at 130 pounds. And I hope that Turkey Al-Sheikh, or whoever it may be, will throw a bag at getting Oshaki Foster versus Emmanuel Navarrete for the unified lineal championship at 130 pounds. Because that fight does fireworks. That fight would be fireworks. And it's not a hard fight to make. Both of these guys are top-ranked fighters. It is not a hard fight to make.
Yeah. Oshaki was there.
So
So
was Ray Ford. I think we're going to get Shaki Foster against Ray Ford first.
it's exciting times for £130 right now,
I think
Bron.
Navarrete should rematch Charlie Suarez and prove it was a fluke. That's what he needs to
Well,
do. Navarrete is
I
clearly the
no,
better boxer.
because the world is calling. Let's break Bronx back in before we go home of boxing. The world now is calling after that performance, and as Bronx quite rightly said, I think Charlie Suarez would be pushed to the back of the queue right now. Would that be fair to say, knowing that Shaki Foster and Ford are waiting in the
Yes,
wings?
yes, and in my opinion, do not make the Ford fight. I don't
Keep
mean to be
that.
disrespectful to Raymond Ford, but
Do you
Raymond
mean
does
keep
not
that?
deserve a fucking title fight yet.
He does
He has
not. And
done
he looked
little
like a
to
Bucks
nothing at
Lisbon. He looked
130.
like Clarissa Shields at that fucking presser yesterday. At that fight
I, I,
yesterday. He looked
I just
greased
want to
up.
be
I don't know
real
what's wrong with
that
him.
I hate when we have opportunities at tremendous unifications or chances at lineal titles, and we push it off to be like, oh, but we need to wait so this guy can get one in. Oshaki just fought, if I remember, when was it, guys? In December, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
is
it
when
weren't
he
long
had
ago,
the
yeah.
Fulton. So that's the point. Is like make the Foster Navarrete fight as soon as you can because we are a sports fan base of what have you done for me lately. We are quick to forget tremendous performances, and that's the thing. Both of these guys just came off some of their best performances of their careers. So throw them in against each other now so we as boxing fans can say without a reasonable doubt, this is the greatest fighter in this weight class. We don't get opportunities at that enough.
I like
There's too
that.
much arguments.
I like that.
I
Right
would
with
say, what
Yogi.
would you think about the winner of Kakache against Jazza Dickens fighting maybe
That's another
Navarrete?
one that'll probably put back because it's there's bigger interests with the other two guys.
Why not? Why not Dickens versus
Why
Ford?
not Dickens and the fucking who we just mentioned?
Well,
Uh,
Dickens is fighting Kakache in Dublin, and
no.
obviously Art Chamberlain was meant to be fighting on the co-main against Pierce
I'm
O'Leary. Pierce
thinking
O'Leary's
the
he's had
winner of
to
Kakashi Dickens
reschedule now.
fights
He's
Ray
now
Ford.
fighting Maxie Hughes.
Yeah, I'm thinking the winner of Kakashi Dickens fights Ray Ford next.
Yeah, I'd like that. I'd like that. I'd like that.
I
I
would
think
And
too. I
Ray
think
then
that's
Ford
actually
just
a
needs
great
to have
fight.
a good win before he starts
and
calling
then
out the
what
champs. You know what I mean?
then what we're talking about, is Ray Ford and the winner of Navarrete and Oshaki is a unification for undisputed, but which that weight division has not had for some time. As let's go some of the comments here. Navarrete reach gives him such a great advantage in these bouts, but Nunes showed how this reach thing and this diversity of punches that Navarrete showed. Is there something that's adapted into his training? Is there any, camp information we can glean from this to justify this remarkable performance last night?
Is Nav still trained by Morales?
Yes,
Because
he
if he
is.
is,
Yeah.
I think it just shows it right there. I mean, he's being trained by one of the greatest Mexican fighters of the last 30, 40 years. And Eric has, in my opinion, showed growth as a boxing coach. And I think what we saw from Navarrete was the perfect mix of using that length that Yogi had said. And in order to not just that, the way he was working off the back foot, I want to bring that up because
Yeah.
this guy is being labeled as, I don't know why, but by some content creators, as one of the worst boxers with a championship. And I don't know how you can say that when what we saw from Navarrete last night, working off the back foot, throwing combinations, landing combinations, almost consistently hurting Nunes, I think just showed like that Navarrete and his coach Morales are growing as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's
hey,
a
that's
world class
why it brings
elite
so much
boxer,
interest.
mate. No one can
No,
say Navarrete is not an elite boxer. He is
no,
elite. Yeah, he gets
after,
beat now and again, but he is an elite boxer. People were talking to me about it on the channel, saying, "Oh, he's going to get done by Sugar Nunes. Sugar Nunes is younger, hungrier, all this." I was never having none of it, mate. Navarrete is far too good to be beat by Sugar Nunes, he's an imposter in the division. He got
No,
hyped because of who he signed with. That's all.
right, true. Now, is there scope? There's an interesting question in there from Joshua Heath. Big up, Joshua. Nobody wants to believe it, but Shakur would be forced to fight with Navarrete because of how awkward and unorthodox his style is. My question is, now that Shakur Stevenson is at £140, is he going to look back on £135 and go, no, there's more money to be made at 140 plus?
Well, he's definitely not going back down to 130. We know that.
135. I'm talking. Let's go home of boxing with that question.
No. Shakur, he's not gonna. He's probably gonna stay at 140, and if anything, he might move up. But no, Navarrete is at 130, and I think he was saying recently on the post-fight press conference that he's gonna wait for the Turkey for the undercard for the Canelo, Mexico against the world.
Yeah, September.
Yeah. And I think the Oshaki Foster fight right there would be a perfect fight. Co-main, or even maybe not, it doesn't even have to be co-main, but just on that card.
I want to know. I think that's a great co-main event. Home of boxing. I think that's a fantastic
I feel
co-main
like
event.
Oshaki should fight Raymond Ford. I feel like that fight should happen. Raymond Ford is pretty known. He's Shakur's best friend. He beats Raymond Ford. It opens up way more doors for Oshaki. More people will know who he is. He's just going to be grow as a star. So I think that fight should get
the
made.
Mexicans will say that's ducking Navarrete.
Wait, who's ducking?
The Mexican fans will say it's ducking Navarrete, but
we all
know the truth.
Navarrete's
got business to have with Charlie Suarez, to be honest. He needs to relinquish that. He needs to make that right. In my opinion, man, Navarrete, he lost that fight versus Charlie Suarez. He got changed to a no contest. He needs to correct that for me before we can consider him top level again. I don't know why. Just in my mind, he needs to correct that wrong. If he doesn't, we won't be able to take him too seriously.
Hasn't he corrected that wrong already by beating Nunes?
No, because Nunes was never that good. Nunes was a fake fighter.
I think Nunes was.
Rashiki nearly done the guy, man. He's not that good. Trust me, Nunes was never that good. People got on this hype train about Sugar Nunes because Matchroom were pushing the arse out of him.
Yeah, they did. Matchroom did amazing on pushing him.
He was never that good. He was never that good, honestly.
There you go. Strong opinions.
I've never seen anything from Sugar Nunes that makes me think he would be even fringe world level. The only reason he fought Navarrete is because he's a fellow Mexican. That is the only reason. And look at what happened. Navarrete won every single round and stopped him in the 11th.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Well, the general consensus is that, unification should happen off the back of that performance last night for Navarrete. We'll keep our eyes on that one. Let's go to the co-main event. Emiliano Vargas versus
Quintana.
Fascinating fight. Very fascinating. Quintana, the Argentinian, for me, started very strong. I thought Emiliano took the first round just based on style and then, and clinical accurate punching. However, Quintana came into it. Second and third round, maybe stole the third round, but I don't know. But since moving on from there, it was just all Emiliano Vargas, and boy, I was very impressed with him.
That was Quintana, the second, fifth, and the seventh row in that fight. Yeah. That's all I gave him.
That was one tough hombre, Blugs, Quintana. But ask yourself, how impressed were you with Emiliano, and what's the future holding for him, do you think?
That's what's so unique is I feel like most of the boxing fan base has been extremely impressed with Emiliano and see a very high ceiling for him in the sport. But that is the great question, is where does he lie? Should he sit at 140 pounds? And pretty much, again, arguably one of the most stacked divisions of all boxing, but he is positioning himself very well into those rankings and positioning himself into conversations with these other large name fighters. So I say keep him at 140 pounds, position him into a big fight and see if he can win. because
There's
that's the
rumors
thing. I
of
mean,
Richardson Hitchens.
oh God, I mean, that's the thing about 140 pounds, guys. Is it's just so stacked, in the amount of matchups that you can make with entertaining fighters like Emiliano. It just does nothing but grow their brand. So that's the thing. You throw him in with Oscar Duarte, you throw him in with Russell or Andy Hiroka, all these guys.
And
He
this,
literally is going to position himself into possibly very, very big money.
and this is why the lightweight division, ladies and gentlemen, is not the most talented division these days.
Neutral, you
Never
already lost
mind.
the debate. You can't go on that one now, bro. JJ beat your ass, bro. It's done. It's done. It's cooked.
It's great. I just wanted to throw that in. That was great. Check out Max Calendrillo, the debate tournament. I was on that.
It
I
was
got
awesome.
my
I
got
had
my.
it. I had it 29-28 to you, by the way, Neutral. I did. I
You're
did.
a good man. Showed your
It should have
loyalty
been
there,
us
bud.
three advancing.
There was a UK guy going to American soil trying to get a result. It was never going to happen.
Alexia Cole, the
But
Cobra Froch
I
versus Jermaine Taylor.
will take a split decision all day long. And JJ is a great, great guy. And yeah, wish him all the best. I hope he goes on to win it. But good fun. Big up,
Can't say
Matt.
that. Blunts is in it as well, and
Yeah,
Homer Boxing.
Blunt is gonna take JJ out for you.
No,
Mr.
it's
Neutral.
one of them. You know, it's one of, I don't know what kind of syndrome it is. Where, you know, where you get beat by some guy and anything else. If he gets beat by somebody else, it just puts you down the pecking order, doesn't it? No, if he goes on to win it, that justifies my split decision. I can hold my own with anybody. Thank you very much, and it was great fun. But yes, great stuff from Emiliano. Home of boxing. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, that was a really tough fight for him. I was starting to get worried for him. I was thinking, damn, is this where it might end for him? But no, after it was the first 6 rounds that were a bit shaky, but then after he started getting his rhythm, started breaking him down nicely, and that's when I saw Emiliano Vargas he's legit. He's not like his other two brothers that still need some work. No, he has the factor, but that 140 division is stacked, so it's gonna be really tough. That's why he's moving smartly. He knows that he shouldn't go straight to the champions. Because yeah, no, Oscar Duarte, how Blunt's was saying, that would be a tough fight for him. Like he should definitely keep it slow, keep on building his he already pretty big when it comes to the media, so just keep on growing and eventually, yeah, the sky will be the limit for him. But right now, I don't think we could move him like too quickly because that fight we just saw last night, it was tough. It was tough, but he showed grit, and I'm surprised he didn't really come. His face was all clean, so he showed that he could handle these come forward fighters.
Absolutely, because you know, for the amount of punches that Quintana was landing on, I was thinking that boy's not got a mark on him. He's made of wax.
Yeah, no,
No,
for sure.
I quite agree. I quite agree with you guys. Take it nice and slowly with him. He's what 16-0-0 now.
17 now.
He's 21. There's no point, you know, fast tracking this kind of talent. This talent needs to mature like a fine wine. And but I see deadliness in him. Deadly.
Oh, he's going to be a killer, mate. He's a future
I'm
world champion for
excited for the
sure in my
future.
eyes. I've said it for the last 2 years.
Yeah,
Emiliano Vargas will be a world champion. He will be a world champion
I'm
and a good one as
excited
well.
for his future. Now, let's move on. Tamia Smalls.
Abel
Boxers.
Ramos.
Abel Ramos. Now, the old guy, Abel Ramos, 34 years of age. Again, it was a step up fight for Tamia Smalls, no matter how you want to look at it. But it was a great learning curve for young Tamia. The way he tried to close off that fight early, in my eyes, you know, big bombs, he was overreaching. You could tell the strategy was take him out early in front of, you know, a partisan crowd, as it were.
A Mexican crowd.
Yes, at that event. Now, do you? I'm going to come to you, Homer Boxing first. Do you feel that Smalls executed the wrong game plan?
Yeah, no, for sure. I do believe so. The only reason I picked him in the tournament that we're in is because I just feel like the hype was around him, so I kind of fell for the hype. But I did see he was going to be in a tough fight. Abel Ramos is not no easy fight, so it was all stylistically bad for him. He didn't have the answers for Abel Ramos, and we clearly saw last night that he's still not ready for the next level.
Absolutely. Facts.
Plants, yeah, what did you think?
I just I'm right there with everybody else. What an upset. I think a vast majority of us didn't think Ramos would be able to uh, get the win because more often than not, against these kind of dudes that are being touted as legitimate prospects, he has kind of failed to secure wins. So it's an interesting situation. So all due respect to him, I'm very happy for him. When situations like that, like an old fighter is able to kind of derail uh, an individual like Simpson or Smalls, it makes you kind of happy for the guy. So I got to say, as a boxing fan, I'm happy for Ramos.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, when I first put this fight on the Red Corner Prediction League copyright card, I was thinking, well, Ramos has just fought for a world title against Mario Barrios. Got a split draw. And now he's fighting an up-and-coming prospect or a matchroom card. And I'm thinking, this is too much of a step up. But I fell into the trap.
Yep.
Maybe he's cooked. Maybe the young boy.
I agree.
I went into this thinking Tamir Smalls, he should come out and blow him out. I really did.
Exactly.
I think I had knockout round 8. I thought Ramos would work him a couple of rounds, tire out, and then we're going to see Tamir Smalls come into his own and just get his way with him. But Ramos was having none of it, mate. Ramos was like, nah, mate, you ain't mugging me like that.
Yeah,
and he absolutely flipped the script on him. He flipped the script on him and just outmanned him. He just old-manned him, just boxed his head off, and he got the win. I still don't get where the 96-94 Smalls card came from the judge, but we'll take it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a majority.
Any last points, gentlemen?
Yeah, and isn't he trained or his stablemates with Boots as well, right? So that's also all his stablemates have been losing, so now I gotta keep that in mind. They haven't been good. Andy Cruz lost, and then now we got this loss. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting
every camp goes through a bad patch. Blunts, any final words on the?
My only final words are for the detractors trying to say Navarrete is not a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter. He, in fact, is. Look at resume. Look at accolades. The man has proven to be at least number 10 in the pound-for-pound rankings. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here at Red Corner Review Session podcast with me and my great buddy James. And to thank everyone who's in the comments, leaving the comments rather, and writing Yogi. It's our pleasure. Thank you for that. We do. And please do give us a like and subscribe. But don't take my word for it. Here's someone who should recommend.
What's going on, UK boxing fans? This is commentator Christian Schmidt alongside
the great Roy Jones Jr. and you're watching Jam Red Corner Boxing.
Subscribe to us on RJJ Boxing YouTube channel.
There you go.
There you go, mate. When Roy Jones Jr. tells you, you better do it.
You guys have to subscribe.
The legends themselves, Christian Schmidt and Roy Jones Jr., 5-weight world champion. I can't remember.
Yep. Absolute beast. Beast of the world of boxing.
Amassed so many records. But we do thank our guests, Bronson Boxing, Home of Boxing. Please go and subscribe to both of them on X and on YouTube. These guys do wonderful content career. We'll be back tomorrow night with Blunts on his space on X, the weekly wrap up. Look forward to that. Blunts will join you then. But from us here at Red Corner Boxing, just a final word that we are sponsored by
BoxingFightZone.com for all your boxing apparel.
There you go. You had it from there themselves. From Jams and I, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.
Step in the ring, no fear, all bite, hands up high. We train for this fight, bell gon' ring, it's war on sight. This is boxing life, this is fight night. Sweat on the floor, we grind, we climb every bruise.